So this is the latest build. I got some help with the hard tubing at the time, so this will be my next challenge to learn that myself, to make some modifications. As you can see and hear, the noise is not so overwhelming right now. It's desktop idle, Windows 11. Times are really good. So yeah, let's see. So this noise now is in the Need for Speed Unbound title screen, as you can see and hear. It's coming from the GPU, so typical coil whine, I guess. And so I don't have any sync on, I don't have a frame limiter, so this is really the raw sound. By the way, clearly coming from the GPU. I've already switched the PSU, which often can be the problem in combination with coil whine. So this sound is now in-game. In-game Need for Speed. What's really annoying is that it's changing the frequency depending on what you're playing, how fast you're going, steering and so on. So as I said, my next challenge will be to learn the hard tubing. I'll try to disassemble the 6900 XT Liquid Devil that has an Alphacool block here. And let's see how it goes. Maybe I'll also assemble the original Liquid Devil block on it. And change a little bit the looks of the whole build. Okay guys, today I'm going to drain the loop that I have here, the drain on the radiator, and let's see how that goes. I'm not going to show it because this build is super heavy and this is going to be quite ugly, I think. So before I start, I wanted to show you how it looks without the glass, tempered glass, with a black kind of coating. Another thing I can recommend is go and dust it a little bit, right? Sometimes you won't believe how much dust there really is in an open frame, but over time, I mean, you can't really avoid it. That's just normal. So yeah, now I got it off the wall, and quite heavy, as I mentioned. Now I'm going to drain it, and then we'll see how it goes. Okay, so ready to drain. And the gloves you don't really need, but I was going like, okay, let's be on the safe side. Always good to have some paper towels with you. And yeah, off it goes. One important thing to mention is that you better open your reservoir to let the air press out the rest of the fluid. Okay guys, just to reiterate, the goal of this exercise is to actually potentially replace the block of the GPU. The main goal actually is to try and remove the coil whine, which I don't recommend for any cards that still have warranty, because I'm probably going to fixate some of the coils with some hot glue, and yeah, so let's see how that goes. I'm not going to drain everything, all the coolant, because yeah, just keep the maintenance low, let's say, today. And so yeah, now I'm going to disassemble the GPU. Okay, now I unmounted the two pipes, intake and exhaust outlet, let's say, in water cooling terms. Yeah, right. And yeah, now I'm going to plug out the GPU. So yeah, just figured good opportunity to show something. So my predecessor of the board, he actually damaged this thing here, the nipple that releases the PCIe GPU. So I needed to unlock it by going from here, push to the right, so that it will release the GPU block. So yeah, if you don't know, so all the build that I built here is made of used parts actually, so secondhand everything. And yeah, so well, some people just yeah, are a bit more aggressive when they work with their parts. So as usual with such projects, there are some unforeseen things. So what I just realized is that there is a RGB connection here from the card. It's hardwired and actually goes into the case behind the other things. And the problem now is that I drained everything, so I don't want to open the back of the case right now. So what I'm going to do is probably I will disassemble the GPU and remove the block from the card so that I can work the card and possibly assemble everything before I then ultimately open the back of the case and remove the RGB cable, because I really don't want to cut the cable either. So I guess that's the only choice right now. Having removed the GPU, now also appears the opportunity to clean this little chipset cooler. You can see it's actually quite dusty. And yeah, let's get the Uber and just do it. Okay guys, as you can see, I unmounted the GPU from the cooler, and quite honestly, I'm sweating. Because yeah, that's obviously working on the floor with a cable attached and some fluid inside, not the best idea. So what I'm going to do next is I want to change the orientation of the graphics card. It was mounted horizontally. I want to change it to be vertically, because the original liquid Alphacool block, I think it looks just so much better in the upright position. So for that I need to unplug these cables here and use the other bracket that came with the case. And one thing I had to also buy is the PCIe 4.0 cable, because the Thermaltake Core P3 case comes with a PCIe 3 cable only, and obviously the AMD 6900 XT is a PCIe 4 card, and we don't want to lose any bandwidth. So that's the next steps. Okay, so as you can see, I have now the original bracket for the upright position of the GPU mounted through three screws, sorry, and two on here to make sure this is really stable. As the weight of the GPU pushes down, obviously you want to make sure that this is really tight. The cables I did really one-on-one to make sure that after assembly I don't really have to fiddle a lot with the correct cabling, so that it just runs out of the box. And by the way, I wanted to mention, so for screwing I use a normal screwdriver. So I'm using a normal screwdriver, which has a neat mechanism to lock and release the bits inside. One of the things I wanted to show you is that what I'm using is a magnetizer, because obviously when you deal with a lot of screws and they can fall down inside the main board. I'm sure many of you have had this issue. So you can easily magnetize any screwdriver up front and make sure that yeah, it keeps the screw tight. So next up is the PCIe cable. I got a fairly cheap one, easy do-it-yourself apparently, and according to the reviews, pretty good price-performance ratio. I didn't want to invest too much money, given that in principle I have a functioning system and I'm just reconstructing it for better looks. So I hope that this cable will meet the expectations in terms of performance and reliability, obviously, but let's see. Okay, so let's see if we can get this inside smoothly with one hand. Let's see. Snapped in correctly. And many people I read have problems with this fitting. But yeah, it doesn't really. It's locked at the end, but not on the front. Okay, so apparently this is a bit ausgenoodelt, as we say in German. Okay, looks okay. And obviously the other side. Okay, next issue. This cable is definitely too long. Even if I try to force it in, it will block my PSU fan. So I guess I have to switch that, return it and get another one that is shorter. For the time being, I'll keep it just to make sure I get the GPU block right. But yeah, this can't stay like that forever. Unfortunate. Okay, another unexpected problem is that this plug is actually too wide. Even if I put it here, I'm not sure if you can see this, but it's too broad, too wide. I cannot push it inside the opening, and therefore I cannot really mount it. It would be not correct. So what I'm going to do is I will stick with the PCIe that came with thermal take for now, and then I have to see if I can find a better compatible one. So here comes the original cable. It's not as good looking, I think, but I'm happy if it fits and does the job. It's also some smaller, shorter, so yeah. Okay, so the PCIe cable is in. What I dislike here is that you can see a brownish thing. Not sure it's supposed to be glued or what, but I'm going to make like a small tape on it just so it doesn't really shine as much. So this worked. This obviously from Thermaltake fit much better. Okay, so I have to screw it a bit tighter. Yeah, it's okay. Cable works, but not so nice. But yeah, the block will probably hide it later, so no problem. So here it is, the good piece, Liquid Devil 6900 XT, XTXH chip. What I'm actually a bit surprised about is, see here, this pad is actually next to the capacitor, the coil. Also here, it's misplaced here as well. Really strange. Can't have maybe moved the assembly or something. The back side. Things look better. So yeah, let's see. First, I need to check the original block and yeah, put the pads in the right positions. Oh yeah, and obviously clean the die. Pretty messy. This is, I guess it was Hydronaut at the time, Hydronaut thermal Grizzly. I'm going to put Creonaut now. So for cleaning the die, I will use this from a Casa. Yeah, I've been using that for years and worked really fine. So I was just trying to compare why this is misplaced, and It's really strange. I mean, so but this explains actually something. So you can see that the coils, I mean, they're in this opening here, and then the actual pad is on the capacitors. And honestly, for me, that could explain why these keep swinging. I mean, there's some dampening material inside, but they're supposed to be not so swinging. Yeah, that could explain why they actually are whining as much. But okay, it's my first time trying to fix this, so we'll see what happens. Okay, so here's the original block. It still has the main things inside. Looks pretty awesome, I would say. Okay. So a little bit of hot glue. Don't do this if you still want to already. So the original block is on again. Oh wow, looks beautiful. Can't wait to see it running again. Okay, here guys, here's the result. I'm sweating, breathing hard. First time PETG hardline bending. Those below tubes are new. Going to switch it on now to see if yeah, things come along, if it's tight and so on. Scary guys. Guess I'm still sweating. The pump, the reservoir was so empty so fast that I had to put coolant 2 times more. I'm sweating. Wow. Hey guys, after I hang it to the wall, so stopping to sweat now. Some RGB problems, but overall runs. Works, shows screen again, even though I hot glued the GPU. Wow, I'm overly satisfied. First bends, no, not perfect, but will do. Nothing leaking, I'm glad. So now I'm going to clean up all the mess I made. Ciao.